Before continuing with the nav portion of our lab 2 file, this would be a good time to talk about one portion that I will not be grading in your lab 2 file. If you recall from lab 1b, I had you choose a random word or phrase, and then I made you, or I asked you nicely, to make that into a hyperlink. Now, perhaps that part that you made into a hyperlink was the portion that we deleted. And then maybe for some of you, the hyperlink that you chose to create is in this portion right here. And that's okay. I will not be looking for that particular word or phrase that you made into a hyperlink. So if yours is still in this section, you can leave it on there or you can take it out. And that's also something to keep in mind as you're looking at everybody else's code when you have a chance to do that in the discussion board. Okay, going back to the unordered list, this is how we implement navigation links. In the nav section then, we will add an opening UL and a closing UL tag, so we don't forget. And for each navigation link, that will be in its own opening and closing LI tag. For this navigation section, we will have 5 different links. First one is to the home page. I will go ahead, copy that and paste it 4 times. Since we have 5 links, I'll just replace the information. Second link is about. Third one is services. Fourth one, galleries. And last one is contact. Right now, these are not hyperlinks because we have not coded it as such. If you recall from lab 1b, the way you make something, whether it's text or an image, the way you make that into a hyperlink is you wrap it around opening and closing anchor tags. And inside the opening anchor tag, you use the href attribute to tell the web browser where to go. That's what we'll do for each one of these links. I'll start with the opening anchor tag with the href attribute. Inside the href attribute, we will use a relative link. We will be asking the web browser to look for a file relative to where last name -lab -2.html file is. In this case, we are asking the web browser to look for index.html in the same folder as lastname -lab -2.html. Now, looking at our folder, we don't have an index.html. For this to work, if you were really making a website, you would then have to create an index.html page. But for this example, we will just leave it as that. We'll just say that in the future, we're going to create that page. If you were to actually click on that, then you will get an error page because it doesn't actually exist. But for now, we're just practicing with creating anchor tags. And part of that is remembering to put a closing tag, like so. Let's go ahead and do the same thing for the other links. We will be using relative links. Now the about page, we can make that look for about.html. Services, we'll make that look for services.html. galleries. I can go to galleries.html, and contact can go to contact.html. Save that, and let's refresh our preview. Now we have a header section that contains two things. It has a paragraph and an unordered list within a nav section. We still have not included any kind of styling information, so what you're seeing is a default for the hyperlinks and for each LI. Unordered lists with their separate LIs by default are block elements, which means that they take up the entire width of their container. That's what you're seeing here. Home takes up the entire line. About, services, galleries, and contact, they each take up the entire width of the web browser. Also, as hyperlinks, you will find that they are blue and underlined by default. And as I mentioned, these pages don't actually exist. So if you clicked on them, it's going to give you a your file was not found page because index.html does not exist in my lab 2 folder. And that will be the same thing for all the other pages. There is no about.html, services.html, and so on. But in looking ahead, this is how you can start creating the different pages, and this is how you can start connecting the different pages for your website project. But we're going to take it one step at a time. We will build up to that. We haven't even got into CSS yet, right? In the next video, we will add a footer section.